Assuming you guys have heard this, but maybe I shouldn't take anything for granted. There's a pandemic going on right now. Oh, by the way, if you live where I live, then you know this, but if you don't watch the national or world news, maybe you don't know. Oregon's on fire all around me. Every which way you go, you walk outside the smoke. There was actually a report that came out on the national news that declared the Northwest. Now, the Northwest, for broad stroke purposes, is Seattle to Portland. For broader stroke purposes, you're talking about Oregon and the state of Washington. Okay, great. I'm right in the middle of it. We're on fire. Can't see anything. And they hit us as the worst air quality in the world right now. I didn't know there was percentages on air quality, but apparently there is. And we are at 10%. Now, until we were at 10%, I never even knew that there was such a survey done. I share that with you because when a little one wants to come with you and they're a little bit scared of the way the world is going, the little one comes with you. So I have Miss Priya in my lap over here, who promised me that she was going to be a very good girl, and thus far has done just that. Miss Priya and I were surfing the interwebs, and we came across an interview. And if you guys have seen this interview, great, you're going to make my storytelling easier. But if you haven't, you're going to make my storytelling better, and here's why. Do you guys remember back when the Chappelle Show was in full swing? And like they would have Charlie Murphy, and maybe the Rick James one would be the best example. But Charlie Murphy will come on and he will tell the most insane story ever that you know he has to absolutely be exaggerating about the actions and behaviors of Rick James. It's a good story. The truth must be somewhere in the middle, but he must be exaggerating because the story is so wild. And then, like as a surprise treat to the audience, they then cut to Rick James, who they also interviewed and sliced them together. I mean, we see this all the time. Dateline comes to mind. We have two opposing stories, but they're very different. They're arguing over the facts. On the Chappelle Show, the reason Charlie Murphy was so interesting with Rick James is they told the same story. Like the craziest story that you've heard, but then you go to the other guy who had the exact same opinion. So this just happened with GM3 and Chimaev. GM3 comes out very calmly and says, man, I just ran into Chimaev in the hotel. He tried to get into it with me. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to get paid. I don't get paid to fight him in the hotel in quarantine. I get paid to fight him on Saturday, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Not to mention, I had a bunch of guys with me, and I don't really know what he was telling me anyway. He said that I talk too much. You know, there's some buildup for the fight. He did his interviews. I did my interviews. I don't know if it was looking for a Khabib, Artem Lobov type situation again. I don't know what was going on. I walked the other way. Off you go. All of a sudden, the tape cuts to Chimaev. And Chimaev was playing the role of more of the Rick James, where he's like, yeah, I saw him at the hotel. I tell him, you talk too much. I do not like this. He telling me something I not know. I gonna smash his face on Saturday. And then somewhere he called him a chicken. And I know a chicken in North America is like playground terms. I get that you're a chicken. I get that. But it means something different for the guys from Dagestan. I don't totally know what it means, but it's like an insult. There's parts of the world where if you take your shoe off and you shake it at somebody, but that's a really big insult in that part of the world. So there was something also relevant to the word chicken. I just love the way this piece was cut together. And that you had two guys telling a story. Oh, and by the way, they told the same story.